Welcome. This is the Tuesday live show, and I'm Jeff St Laurent, and today's topic is behind the scenes of your email list. And this is an interesting topic because a lot of this has to do with the long-term results that you haven't received yet that I've received because I've been doing this for 15 years. And I'm sharing some of those results today behind the scenes of stuff you'd never see that you want to see to show you the effect of the short-term work you're doing now to help you with the consistency of that over time so that years from now, you'll have those results. Of course, you'll create results before years from now. However, it's the long-term results that I'm helping you create as well, because it's too often that there's too many coaches out there and gurus out there who are marketing to and teaching the short-term result. And yeah, we can get short-term results and sometimes do things that create great short-term results. But, you know, you can have a $20,000 month, but if for the majority of the months after that are zero, at some point, no one's going to complain about a $25,000 month, but you get the point. So before we get going, I do record all of these Tuesday live shows and I put them in my website, sellingcoaching.com, under the university. I help coaches transition to a full-time business. I focus on the selling aspects of it and structuring their business. Got a lot of great resources in there at sellingcoaching.com under the university. But you can start right on my homepage. And that's, if you enter your name and email address, you'll receive the first 3 vital steps to launching a full-time coaching business. So when you enter your name and email address, not only will you get instant access to that, it's an audio course, but it's also going to put you into my email community so you can be in touch with me. I can be in front of you on a weekly basis via email. Not only you can see how that's done, which is an important component of that, which is kind of the topic of today, right? The value of it over time, showing you behind the scenes. So I want to show you how I role model that, but also I get some great information in there as well on a weekly basis in terms of lessons, stories, things like that. So let's move into this behind the scenes of an email list. And this topic came about because especially as I'm mentoring my my one-on-one clients, when people hire me one-on-one and in groups, I'm helping them structure their business from the ground up, moving them forward. One of the things I help them with, especially earlier on, is structuring their email community, getting it up and running, sending weekly emails, and also doing some type of a weekly event, something like this, and if anything, just to start honing their skills of speaking in an event like this, and then writing with their email, right? 2 vital skills that we need to develop if we want to communicate our message and be successful, ultimately building an audience and getting clients from there, or however we want to monetize our audience. Now, with that being said, it's important that we do that consistently over time. And in the beginning, oh my God, we're freaking out about it, right? And so, like I said, the motivation for this topic today is a lot of my clients who are in that phase right now of starting that up. Obviously, it's challenging. It was challenging for me when I started it. It can be challenging at times now, but as you develop the muscle, so to speak, and the stamina for it, when you're out of shape and you push yourself too hard, you get sick to your stomach, you can throw up. Well, same thing when you're starting off, having to write your first email or do your first video, 30 takes later, not really having something that you're happy with, it can be tough. And so as I work with those clients, especially in the first months or so, sometimes you get to that spot where they're just like, oh God, no one's reading this stuff, no one's watching this stuff, or at least it feels that way. And I don't know, I don't see, and it's taking me so much time to do it because it's new and I don't know how to do it, even though you've helped me do it. I know how to do and what to do, but it's still taking me a lot of time to do it. And maybe they're time's limited, whatever. It takes a lot of energy, emotional energy as well. And it's tough. It doesn't have to be. It just typically sometimes in the beginning, that's the way it is, especially for some people where it takes them way out of their comfort zone. Now, through that process, especially if it's challenging in the beginning and even months later into it, and especially once you haven't or when you haven't achieved results from that, meaning sometimes we do it and it doesn't even seem like anyone's opening our emails or reading our emails. And you could check that on the back end, of the email platform, like Aweber that I recommend as an example. but you're doing a live video and no one's watching, let's say, right? Or you don't see the value of it, meaning no one's hiring you, no one's reaching out to you, no one's commenting on it. Especially if you're doing social media and any marketing that way, it can be a very lonely space sometimes as you put this information that you work so hard on and that you've got sick to your stomach over and prepared for all week, and you put it out there, and it's like you're just throwing it in the trash almost, right? Because no one's seeing it or no one's watching it, and that's the way it feels. So it can be hard to maintain that over time. Other than my encouragement, other than people hearing, hopefully multiple messages that it's valuable, it can be challenging to do that in the beginning, especially when you have the small to no audience, or your audience is only, let's say, your friends and family. So what I want to share with you today, and interestingly enough, but not really, because that's why I do this live, things happen for a reason and come together, is literally in the last day and then last week, I've gotten 3 different responses from people, all 3 people I don't know, and that came out of nowhere, that I want to share our interaction with you today so you can see the long-term effect of doing this. Now, the reason why I teach it so passionately, obviously I do it myself, and I wouldn't be so enthusiastic about doing it myself, trust me, if I didn't see the rewards of it. Now, I've been doing this 15 years full-time in my coaching business as of this year, actually July of this year. So it's 15 full years of doing this as my primary income, earning more than enough money, meaning more than I need to pay the bills, 6-figure plus income. And so I've realized the results. It's why I teach it and am so emphatic upon it, is because I've seen those results. And I want to share some of this with you because you might not be, and the majority of you aren't at that phase. You're month 1, you're month 15, you're, year 1.5, not 15, And even in that stage, you still don't see the results sometimes. Even at this stage, 15 years in, this stuff that I'm sharing with you today doesn't always happen all the time either. However, when it does happen, you realize the value of doing what I'm teaching. And what I'm teaching is to give you those actions. If nothing else, it's send 1 email a week to your audience. I don't care if it's your brother and that's the only freaking person on your list, or, some old friends from college that hate your guts. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You're sending it to friends and family initially, colleagues, whatever. If there's no relevant, I don't care who it is, you're sending at least 1 email, at a minimum, 1 email per week to your audience. That's the primary piece of this. The thing on top of that is do a weekly live event like this. And now with the advent, and it's been around for a while, but it's really not that old. It's pretty young, live broadcasts like this with Facebook. We're talking within a couple of years, if I'm correct on that. It's not like this is new technology and it's expanding, but it's so easy through social media to do live video broadcasts, things like this. Adding that in there once a week. I don't care if it's 30 seconds. I don't care how short it is. I don't care how short your email is, or long for that matter. Doing that not only for speaking your message, but do that every single stinking week. I don't care what's going on in your life. You might tell them, I get a stuffy nose. My girl and I went away this weekend and we had way too much fun, which is good. It's like I've just been, a couple of days, and I've been sick. I don't even know why. It's summertime, but is that a reason to not do this live event today? No, that's not a reason. Last week on Monday, I had to put my dog down. Those of you that follow me know, and it sucked, and it sucked hard. It still sucks. But I did my event on Tuesday. It's like the show goes on. Those are just quick examples, right? There's no reason why you don't do it. There's no reason why you don't do it. And if the day you're planning on doing it, something's come up or whatever, then you do it on the next day, or you plan the day for it. So that's the type of discipline and consistency that not I want you to have, that you need to have if you're going to create results you want. Like, there's no BS around it. Like, you've got to do it. And I don't care how uncomfortable it is. And usually with my mentor coaching, like, yeah, I have a coaching element to what I do. But when I get to that space with people, like, they need the guidance, and I can coach you through stuff. And I believe in coaching like nothing else. I wouldn't have done this for 15 years if I didn't believe in coaching. But at some point right now, all the coaching in the world is not going to get you through the experience that you need of actually writing the email or doing the video. right? And I can coach you through and you can understand better your blocks and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, it's just like, you got to do the damn video. You got to write the damn email and you got to send it out there and publish it. And what you're going to learn from that over time is going to be priceless. And so you've got to push yourself through that, right? So now what we're saying is those are the actions that I want you to be doing that, like I said, it's that you need to be doing to create this long-term success, especially when nothing's happening right now. So now let me share the cool part about this, right? I wish I could share my screen right now, but I'll not going to read them in their entirety, but I'll set each one of them up. And there's 3 examples, and then we'll wrap this up. So the first example came from last week, and if you haven't watched my last show, it's authenticity or vulnerability in your business, how to combine the two. It was my last show. Go to sellingcoaching.com under the university. You can catch the recording there. That was the day after I had to put my dog down, and it was a rough day for me. I'm not going there right now either, but I sent an email out because I just came from a vulnerable place. That Monday I had to send my email, and it's just like I had to send the email, and I had every reason not to do it because I had to put my dog down 3 hours after I sent it, but I did it, right? And I just came from that space and that vulnerability, and that created the event for the next day. So the point is that I sent that email out, and my dog's name is Cosmo, and it's R.I.P. Rest in peace, Cosmo. And as you might imagine, people wrote back to me, I'm so sorry for your loss. One person in particular wrote back, and this is behind the scenes of the email. I'm sharing this with you so you can understand the value of this, because when I send an email out, I can see, you should be able to see in your back end, like of Aweber as an example, you can see who opened it. You can see who clicked on any of the links. You can see how many times they opened it. You can see the time they opened it. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff you can check there. There's some good marketing stuff that I teach my mentor coaching clients on how to market and get clients from that information. But with that being said, someone wrote back to me. I'm going to go to that email now. And this woman, her name's Claire, never met Claire, don't know who she is. I've just received this one email from her, and she wrote to me, and I'm reading this email. She wrote this that day. She's like, I might not engage very often or participate fully front and center, but you are one of the few souls who remain in my sphere of love and influence, curiosity, and love for what you do. I am compelled to write, as sometimes I think I was meant for the animal kingdom, not human, and know the depth of love, understanding, and sometimes otherworldly that your connection with Cosmo has been. That's my dog, and she wrote that, there's no words that can bring you comfort for this loss, and as you grieve in your own way. Without knowing you personally, I have a sense that Cosmo chose his human as well. Thank you for thinking of your coach and mentee community at this point in this moment in time. You are so appreciated and loved, and even if there are those of us who are quiet in presence but huge in heart. Now, I get emotional about this, and this is about my dog. This is about this email. I'm an emotional guy. It's just how I am. I'm a sap, actually. So, but the point is that I saved this email. I have a fuel folder, F-U-E-L, and in that I just save emails like this, and it could be rejection stuff, bad stuff, and it could be great stuff like this. And I'm sharing this with you today because this woman wrote me and then just disappeared again. I wrote her back, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. You have no idea how much this email meant to me. I'm saving this, blah, blah, blah. I didn't ask her a question. I usually ask questions, try and engage with people. I just said, thank you so much. And that was it. And I'll probably never hear from this woman again. Now, the cool part is whether this Claire woman reaches out and engages with me again, whether she ends up hiring me in the future, buy something in the future, doesn't ever matter. It doesn't matter. The coolest part is my whole message to you is that my consistency over time, and she didn't say in this email how long she's been a part of my email community. I can go check in the back end of Aweber and look up her information and see when she joined. And it could be a couple of years ago. I'd be willing to bet that she's been following me for a couple of years, if not more. But the point is that, as she said, there are those of us who are in quiet presence, huge in heart, meaning there are people behind the scenes that are consuming your information, right? They're consuming your information, and you're never going to know that they're consuming it. Now, I'm going to share the second of 3 examples. And now, like I said, I don't know whether anything else will ever turn into that business-wise. But at a minimum, I know there's a whole bunch of Claires out there. Even for you right now, when you think that there aren't any Claires out there for you, even if it's just friends and family, or I know everyone on my list and trust me, whatever, they're not reading it or whatever, they are, or they're sharing it with someone. And even if you don't see the statistics, maybe they don't work all the time, whatever, they're out there and they're reading it, right? And they may never write, but no, they're out there. So as she said in that email, thank you for thinking of us, your mentees and your audience, basically, especially in that time, right? So that's where the consistency comes in. No matter what you're going through, send that email every week. It's for those people. They appreciate you and your message, and they appreciate you thinking of them, even in your hardest moments. And in your hardest moments, they will be there for you. This is what developing a business is about. This isn't about numbers and money. Ultimately, yeah, we want to create that, but this is about creating that connection in the community with people. This is what we're building here. Comes from what you value. Now, let's go to something that can turn into business. So I'm going to another email, and this happened yesterday, interestingly enough. And this is even after I came up with this topic too. The last two things that I'll share in the last 24 hours since I came up with this topic or so is someone reached out to me on Messenger, this woman named Denise. And I'll read the message, Facebook Messenger. And she's like, hey, Jeffrey, we connected in March of 2016. I've been on a crazy treadmill in my career and recently made a huge change. It's time. She writes, it's time, ... I would love to have a discovery call with you. What's the best way for me to schedule it? It's time to get this coaching practice going, and I'm looking for a coach to support me in the process, right? Does this mean she's going to hire me? I don't know. Is it a very qualified and positive lead? Absolutely, right? So I look back in the Messenger thread. Sure enough, in March, the beginning of March 2016, that's next month, that will be 3.5 years. 3.5 years ago, we had a back and forth, quite an extensive back and forth conversation. I went through the thread earlier today and I read through it. And she was in a position where, she's, wanting to start a coaching business and going through X and Y and Z and really needing some help. She had been following me at that time for over a year. So she's been in my sphere for 4.5 years. And she's like, I love the way you teach. I love what you do. Compared to what other people I've seen out there, I like your authenticity. I like what you teach, blah, 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 blah. And we went back and forth, and we had determined through our interactions, and I had suggested, I'm like, as much as it sounds like you want to do something with your business, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't, and as much as you might want to hire me and work with me, it sounds like might not be the right timing for not only you to do this, but especially hire someone like myself, because everything you shared with me. And when I said that, I kind of took it away from her, and she's like, oh my God, you're right. I do have too much going on right now. Fast forward 3.5 years, and this isn't, just so you know, I'm reacting to this, but having done this 15 years, this is what happens. This is why I'm sharing this with you today. This is what happens. And I wish I could say all the time, but it is all the time. It's just not every month this happens. It's just call it a handful of times a year, which is awesome. A handful of times a year, maybe once every two months, something like this happens that turns into business, or you just get a fantastic response from that woman, Claire. That's fantastic. That's good. All right. And obviously the bigger and bigger your business grows, that will happen more frequently. Right. I do well for myself. I don't have a huge audience. I've got thousands of people, but not tens of thousands of people. Right. Or hundreds of thousands of people. That's not where I'm at. Right. But you don't need that to earn a good multiple six-figure income. You don't. So she wrote this back, and I said, hey, you know what? I just read through some of our past threads, and it's great to hear from you. I'd love to speak with you. Send me an email at this address. Let's get some times, and let's set up this brief call, and we can decide where to go from there. She's in my book for later today. We're going to call it a 15, 20-minute conversation. And I would imagine, assuming she qualifies, I'll offer her a complimentary session. Whether she moves forward with me or not, my point is that people stay with you. And if it weren't for my consistency, she wouldn't be messaging me back. I can guarantee you absolutely that. All right. Now, and I'll update you on this. If you want an update on this, next week, send me an email, jeff@sellingcoaching.com, or go to sellingcoaching.com and go through my contact page. And hey, remember that person? Did they end up hiring you? Right. But it's a pretty strong candidate. Now, the last example I'll give before I wrap this up today is literally came yesterday as well after I sent this topic out. Let me get to that email right now. Is this guy, again, no idea who this person is. And they wrote to me and they went through my website, the sellingcoaching.com. At the bottom of the Work With Me page, I have a form down there. That's typically my call to action. If you want to hire me, go to the Work With Me page at the bottom, fill the form out, and I'll follow up with you and go from there. So he came through the Work With Me page, and he wrote, currently I'm working a 9-to-5 job. I'm passionate about career, blah, blah, blah. You know, my goal is to start my coaching business part-time and eventually make it a full-time business. Now, let me read you this. I've followed you for over 2 years now, and today I decided to contact you to see how we can work together to achieve my goal. Of course, I called him instantly, left him a message, emailed him. He got back to me, and we're having a call actually in 15 minutes from now, a qualifying call just to kind of find out more about where he is. Now, will that turn into business? I don't know, right? Again, irrelevant. My point to you is he's been following me for over 2 years now, and today was the day where he said, you know what? I need help. Jeff's the man. I'm reaching out to him. That's it. So if it weren't for, this is the behind the scenes of the email list, right? This is behind the scenes of what we're talking about today, right? This is all about you doing these weekly actions of sending your email out at a minimum every freaking week. I don't care what it is that you're saying, because what will happen doing, let's say, a weekly event like this in some form, maybe it's not a live video, but hey, it's a podcast. It's a call you do. It's a written article you write or publish, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, but you're getting your message out there and communicating with those people on a weekly basis. Is it builds that loyal fellowship, and it creates a sense of community. And when you have relevant information for your audience, and sometimes in the beginning as a coach, we're thinking, oh my God, well, who's going to want to listen to what I write and blah, blah, blah. And you don't have confidence in your message yet. Well, how you develop confidence in it is doing this, right? And then ultimately someone does write you back and go like, hey, I love your stuff. And you're like, ooh, you do? That's awesome, right? And so you gradually start to build that. And then at some point you don't need that anymore. When you get it though, it feels fantastic. It's why we do what we do. Why I do what I do is to be a part of people's success, right? It's in a broader form. Anything that I've done over my career is fitness industry, things like this, coaching. It's to be a part of people's success. So with that being said, I want to show you the value of that over time. And those are just 3 different interactions. And trust me, I can go back to many, and I mean many over other examples over the last 15 years that have resulted in turning to business. I can remember one specific example of one person who it took them 6 years to hire me. And it was just from my relentless follow-up over time per that person's request. Get back to me in 6 months, get back to me in a year from now, I'll follow up with you type of thing. And I would randomly follow up with that person. And then one person, they emailed me out of the blue from one of my weekly emails. And they're like, dude, I'm going to hire you. And later on after they hired me, I'm like, so what was it now versus like 6 years ago? And that was the most extreme story I have for you right now. And it was like, dude, honestly, he's like, you're just always there. He's like, you're always there. He's like, every freaking week you're sending an email out. And he's just like, I'm just so damn impressed with your consistency. He's like, I know you're the person that can help me move forward because I'm the least consistent person there is. And that was it. And I've had many more stories like that have turned into business. These are just very current ones that I couldn't ignore to share with you today to show you. And will something like this turn into business? Absolutely. Absolutely. Whether it's these people or not, absolutely. Because it has. And will it turn into business for you? Absolutely. The only asterisk to that is, are you going to be in the game long enough? Are you going to be consistent enough? And that's it.